everybody, this is Jackie from Bronx Baubles, bringing you another special case on jewelry detectives. I love jewelry detectives because this is where I dive in deep and get the hidden messages and the symbolism and the historical content of a particular piece of jewelry. I dive in deep and I find all the symbolism and I present it to you. It's probably my favorite series in my content catalog. So without further delay, let's just get this special exciting video started. Why would wearing this beautiful watermelon necklace land you in jail or get you injured, or worse yet? I just have to say before I get started that I'm not a politically charged person. This channel is not a political channel whatsoever. The purpose of this video is only to show how jewelry and adornment is an important part of our world history. And it's not meant to offend anyone. I'm actually a little bit shy and a little bit timid about presenting it to you, but I feel that I must bring content to you that is both unique and unusual and informative. And so that's why I want to share with you why this watermelon necklace is an important part of the current affairs as well as past affairs in the context of the Palestinian-Israeli conflict. So if that's something that you're interested in learning a little bit about, stay with me. Why are the Palestinians so obsessed with the watermelon? The watermelon has such a strong symbolism in the Palestinian-Israeli conflict, and it represents for the Palestinians resistance as well as solidarity. It also represents the struggle of the Palestinians' loss of their territories in the West Bank and the Gaza Strip. And I want to share with you how this necklace is part of that history. You see the iconographic watermelon in Palestinian artwork, graffiti, and even today in modern time, you see it in the social media where they have these watermelon emojis as part of the political statements that the Palestinians are trying to convey to the world. Let's first take a look at this incredible necklace. We have here 3 different types of porcelain beads. These beads are made with porcelain, they're hand painted, and then there's a glaze over them. And there's 3 different types. There's this slice right here, and it's a cross section of a watermelon with its colors, which is very important: the red, the white, the green, and the black. And then you have these 2 very similar shaped slices of watermelon, but they're 2 different types of varieties of watermelon. Maybe they are crimson sweets or a jubilee or a pixie fruit, because this one has light, dark on light, and this one has dark on dark. And so it makes up this necklace that is held together by this cloth green cord. And when I first purchased this necklace, I had no idea of the symbolism of watermelon. And in fact, to be honest with you, there is some historical content of watermelon as it relates to American history. And I've shared with you in the past how, certain pieces of jewelry has to be taken in context of where, of the different countries that the jewelry is made in. So for example, pearls in the Victorian times was made to symbolize tears and mourning and sorrow. But pearls in India are put in jewelry for weddings, and it's supposed to convey moondrops and happiness. And so depending on the content of the jewelry piece, it can have different meanings. So watermelon in American history will be explored in another video. I'm speaking more specifically about Palestinian history. Jewelry has always held a place in history. And so jewelry to me is a very important part of social and political markers in that history. And so, although this is a challenging topic to bring up, I think it's necessary to show the importance of how jewelry and adornment is with even with things that happened in the past, as well as things that are currently happening today. And so that's why I want to share this important information with you. Watermelon has a lot of symbolism, and let's explore that a little bit. So if you take a look at this necklace and a piece of watermelon, you would notice that there's red, white, green, and black in the watermelon. And the red, white, black, and green, the red representing the meat, the black representing the seeds, the white representing the rind, and the green representing the outer carcass of a watermelon. And it also happens to mirror the colors on the Palestinian flag. When you look at the disbursement of the black seeds in a watermelon, it sort of represents the diaspora of the Palestinians and their call to back to their motherland, because watermelon has a very, very significant place in Palestinian history. It has been a part of the Palestinian staple of food since the beginning of time. And if you think about what watermelon is, it's such the perfect mega food, because not only is it nourishing, it's also portable. And so it became a very important part of Palestinian cuisine. So you had many of the farmers farm their watermelons in fields that are no longer theirs anymore. When the Palestinians lost access to their farms, they also lost access to this very important mega food. The Palestinians would eat their watermelon raw. Sometimes they cut it up and made a salad. Sometimes they cooked it. And a lot of times they got their sustenance after working a farm or working the villages. They would eat watermelon at the end of the day with their family and children. So it became a fruit that sort of brought their families together. And when they no longer had access to their lands, they no longer had access to their fruit, they also lost some of this ability to congregate within their families to eat this fruit. And so it had a lot of significance of loss to the Palestinians. There's also been stories about women who gave birth to their babies in the fields. And during certain conflicts and wars, people would actually hide in the dirt patches of the watermelon fields. And so watermelon really became a very significant part of the Palestinian history. And you know, when I was thinking about putting this video together, I decided to make a watermelon salad, because I kind of wanted to connect to this story, not only in the perspective of jewelry, which is my love, but also in my second love, which is cooking and cuisine. So I made a watermelon salad made with feta and with cucumbers and a mustard salad. And I thought about what I was going to put into this video, and it connected me to the significance of what watermelon was to the Palestinians. The sweetness of the watermelon juice was delicious, and then the saltiness of the feta gave it a little bit of that juxtaposition of sweet and salty, and it sort of reached a bliss point where there was just enough sweet and just enough salty. And then the feeling of, you know, when I ate the watermelon, I took in how it quenched my thirst. And then I added to it a mustard vinaigrette and gave it a little tang. So all of these different flavors sort of acted upon each other and gave me a little microcosm of some of the things that perhaps the Palestinians must have felt when they lost access to this incredible superfood. So how did watermelon become the representative of resistance to the Palestinians? Well, it sort of happened back in 1967 with the Six-Day Israeli and Palestinian War. in order, once the Israelis won the war, they wanted to exert their dominance and control over the Palestinians. And the way they did that was to take away some of their pride. They didn't want them carrying their flags because the flags meant pride, and it also meant the possibilities of inciting groups of people. So they banned the flag. And so no one was able to rise their red, white, green, and black flags. It was considered illegal to sport a Palestinian flag. And if you were caught with the flag in your home, in your vehicles, or in your person, you would get arrested. In the 1980s, there was an art exhibit where 3 Palestinian artists put out their art in regards to Palestinian history and pride. And when a high-ranking Israeli soldier went to this exhibit, he tried to encourage them to not paint Palestinian prideful artwork. He wanted them to paint something very simple. And so one of the guards basically said to the artist, if any of you paint a red, white, and black anything, whether it's a flag, whether it's a flower, or whether it's even a watermelon, it will be confiscated and you will be put in jail. And with that, the idea of watermelon as an iconic symbol of the Palestinian flags and the resistance and Palestinian solidarity was sort of created and put out into the stratosphere. So the Palestinians got creative and bypassed the restrictions by painting watermelons, and not only painting them, but also carrying them, eating them in public, and showing that even though they could not fly their flags, they used the watermelon as the symbol for Palestine. And so if they were able to do artwork and graffiti, and to me, jewelry is art adornment, it's easy to say that this watermelon necklace made of porcelain beads can be worn and adorned by the women, or even men if they so choose, or even you can put on it an animal, and this would also represent Palestine. And so if anybody was caught wearing this necklace because of what it represents, they actually could be put in jail. This necklace probably would be confiscated and probably destroyed. Palestinians took inspiration from innocuous fruit such as a watermelon. It's a staple of their motherland. It connects them to the earth, and it connects them to their homeland, and it connects them to their heritage. And so the watermelon became a really powerful symbol that that ironic was sort of brought to their attention by an Israeli soldier, and they took it and they ran with it. And I find that to be quite interesting, how something as innocuous as a watermelon, and even potentially wearing this very beautiful yet simple necklace, can really have ramifications and can convey a political statement that's strong and proud for the Palestinians. And I feel that wearing a watermelon necklace can have healing properties and abilities, because to wear it is to show pride in your country and in your strength and resistance and your community as a Palestinian. And that to me is very fascinating when it comes to jewelry. In 1993, the Oslo Accords was put in place, and what the Oslo Accords did was basically try to find a medium and a place where the Palestinians and the Israelis could meet together and sort of try to get through some of these long-rooted anger and hatred towards each other. And so one of the things that they lifted was the ban on watermelon and the ban on flags. So the Palestinians were allowed to start flying their flags. However, the Israelis were also given the right that if they felt that flags or watermelon depictions would incite a riot or upset the people, then they were allowed to confiscate and even arrest. And so unfortunately, there have been incidences where as a Palestinian carrying their flags are still arrested. In 2021, there was a Chic JRA controversy where it was said that Palestinians were taken away from their homes and their homes were given to other families. And this created an uproar. And so the idea of watermelon became back in fashion and was used once again. But this time they used watermelon in a more social context, using watermelon emojis in social media. And that's how they modernized the whole idea of watermelon. They took it from the art studios and graffiti and they brought it out to cyberspace. And that's why I can totally see a necklace like this being displayed in an art gallery. And once again, the watermelon became a political statement. So this was a very interesting and unusual topic for me to bring because it is somewhat controversial. And I was afraid to present this, but I really believe that I have to, spread my wings and go into the areas that are very challenging as it relates to jewelry and adornment. I really am fascinated with this sort of history and becoming a jewelry detective and jewelry historian. And so I felt a need to share this, not to incite anyone, not to rile anyone up, not to show support from one or the other, although I don't know enough about the story to really even do such a thing. But I didn't want to shy away from those heavy topics that could be controversial. And so I want to know what you guys think of this topic and what you guys think of this content. Is this something that you'd be interested in learning more about? Would you like to learn more about watermelon as it relates to African American history? And if you're enjoying my content, consider subscribing. Leave me a comment. Tell me what your thoughts are. You guys are so great about sharing all sorts of things with me, and I'm so appreciative of each and every one of you. I really am committed to bringing different and more meaningful content to you that's both unusual and unlike anyone else's content. And it's the area that I truly feel most connected to when it comes to jewelry, because to me, jewelry is such a fascinating window into world history, and specifically even American history. And so let me know if you learned something new today in regards to watermelon and Palestinian and Israeli controversy in history. This is Jackie from Bronx Baubles, and as always, wear your beautiful vintage jewelry in good health. With lots and lots of love, everyone. Ciao! Hola familia! If you like my content and want to be part of this vintage custom jewelry tribe, don't forget to hit subscribe, like, and leave me a comment. Love to hear from all of you. Ciao!